ladies and gentlemen, we are here with 50 plus years of Shelby County basketball on the docket, courtesy of Cash and Clark. And tonight we have some special guests here sitting with us tonight. And we're gonna let these guys introduce themselves. But we have Fairlawn High School in the building. The Jets are here. How we doing, coaches?
We're in blue. We're in our blue.
We're in the blue. All right, now I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and how you're affiliated with Fairlawn, and we'll go from there, okay?
Age before youth.
There you go.
Okay. I taught this guy in junior high.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get to that.
The whole
Coach.
panel I would have taught in junior high. Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Scary, right? Okay. My name is Tim Heckman. Coached at, or taught basically at Fairlawn from about 78, 79 up till I retired in 2003. And coached a few sports, baseball, basketball-wise, junior high. But like I said, a lot of these people that we'll be talking about were students, and that really makes it kind of special. My wife, by the way, her family all graduated from Fairlawn, even though I'm a Sydney boy. So I feel closer to, sorry, Tom Clark, but I feel closer to Fairlawn than I do Sydney.
All right, there it is. A pleasure to have you, Tim.
Yeah.
All right.
And so my name's Seth Middleton. I graduated in 2001 from Fairlawn, and probably fifth generation. My kids go there now, and my wife teaches there. So yeah, we've been in the district for a long time.
Okay, all right. Seth, good to have you here.
Pleasure.
All right. Now, in order for us to have this, we have to also thank our sponsors and thank the location that we're having it here, right? Rainbow Bar and Grill, an excellent new establishment here in Sydney, Ohio. Great food, great ambiance, and the patios. It's really beautiful out here. They put it like this in a quick amount of time, and thank them, all right? But also we'd like to thank Ernst Apparel, Wear Your Passion, Buckeye Home Services, your first choice for professional home improvement, Superior Aluminum Products, a great place to work, CarStar, the auto body repair experts, air handling equipment, innovative industrial air compressor solutions, and NK Telco and NKT Productions. All right, without these guys, there's no way we'll be able to have 50 years of Shelby County basketball on the docket, all right? Now, when you think of Fairlawn, all right, basketball, when you think of Fairlawn Jets, who and what comes to mind, coaches? And I'll let you guys
Well, when
figure it out.
I first came to Fairlawn, the old gym was known as the Hangar.
The Hangar.
A small
How big
gym.
was this gym? Yeah, the small gym.
Pretty small.
Okay.
Pretty
All
small,
right.
yeah. It wasn't as bad as some of the old county schools where the over and back line was a foul line at the other end. You know, you teach your junior high kids to reverse the basketball, and you get an over and back, and you look at the referees going, how do you do that, you know? But, no, the Hangar, it was actually at one time, correct me if I'm wrong, but the county schools used to rent the Fairlawn gym out because like Rushi and...
It was the nicest gym in the county.
Yeah, it was the nicest gym in the county.
Nicest gym in the county. Okay. And you're there.
When was I there? It started in 78, 79 was my first year there.
And what was it like that first?
First year, as a first, I've never been a first-year teacher, but we wouldn't even go into that, you know. But,
That's happened.
No, they were. It was fun. I mean, sports were big. Actually, I was at Jackson Center my first 5 years. So when you had Jerry Harmon here, if you have, I knew Jerry very well. Don't see him here tonight. But yeah, when I started at Fairlawn, you know, just had to get to know a lot of new people. And but I found it to be a really friendly place. I mean, in the course of my career teaching there, I would probably say more of my friends were from the Fairlawn community than anywhere else. So it was just, I just found it to be a good, welcoming place. Had some great basketball teams in the 60s, you know, late 60s, when I was in high school at Sydney and didn't know where Fairlawn was at, you know.
You couldn't find it, Coach?
My first interview was at Jackson Center, and I had to look on the map to see where to go for that. But that's kind of my memory of Fairlawn, just you know, just a lot of good guys, and became good friends with a lot of the people there.
All right. When you think of it.
Yeah, when I think of Fairlawn, so one of the things that Coach was talking about, for me, I graduated in 2001, so I started being a ball boy in '92. The '90s were kind of a rough decade for us.
Okay.
My brother graduated in '94. I had a sister in '95 and another sister in '97.
Okay.
And we didn't have the '90s was a rough stretch. So for us, it was just tough. But I enjoyed being a ball boy. And my dad was on the '72 team, which was our last county title. So
Okay.
we're an athletic family. We were all involved in sports. So it was fun to be a part of the school. We had some great programs come through, but the '90s just for basketball and the boys side was a rough stretch.
So now we look at it a little bit right now, and the game's changed, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But how's it been recently with the team?
Yeah. Go ahead. I was just going to.
Well, one of the tough things is we're one of the smallest schools in the county.
Okay.
So that makes it a little tougher. And
in the league, basically in the league. I mean,
Right.
because in this league, 60, 70 years straight,
Right. And
nobody's moved,
Correct.
no shook. It's been the same,
Correct.
tight knit. Well, y'all add an 8th team. What do you guys think? Do you think that they will add an 8th team to this league?
I don't know the answer to that. That's a great question. It's just, I was the athletic director for a short time, and there was a MAC school that was in conversation about getting out of the MAC, but that never transpired. And I don't know if there's anybody else, such as a Holy Angels, that will ever have the opportunity, or Layman Catholic, that will ever have the opportunity to get in. But that would be one school that could be a looked at team for an ACE team. But everybody else has their village or their town, and that's kind of how the county represents the SCAL 7 that exists today. So I think it's just hard to realize whether there would ever be that opportunity to bring in an 8th team or not, realistically.
one of the problems is a lot of schools play football, and in the county you've just got Fort Laramie, and Anna that play football. So it's a little tough to get somebody to come in the way football scheduling is.
Correct.
To come in a league that basically is more of a basketball league.
Baseball, track.
Now I know you guys have a couple of stories, Coach.
Yep. Well, there's definitely a couple.
There's got to be.
I got some lists on here.
You got a couple lists on there.
I had one for Craig Francis, and dang it, he's not here. But Craig played for 4 coaches. 4 years, 4 coaches, right?
Whoa. 4 for 4, like the Arby's roast beef.
It was tough.
One more. We're going for 5
But he
for 5.
played for a guy named Dan Penrod. Okay. Played for Fred Worth, Jim Wallace. They were both there for a year, and then for Kim Rank. And Kim Rank, you got to mention Kim Rank because he just did a lot for the program. I mean, he was one of the better coaches, I think, was there.
He's coming back to help this year.
He's coming back to help for his 3rd stint.
Right. We love it.
Assistant coach.
We'll take it.
I was going to ask Craig, and you might get, I don't know if you heard this story, but Craig's first 3 years, it was kind of wild and loose there as far as having to be at practice all the time. So Craig's first year with Kim Rank, who I said was a very good coach, Craig missed the first practice because it was deer hunting season. Yeah, and back then that was always it was okay, right? There.
Probably.
Oh man.
Kim Rank didn't have.
He didn't make practice.
Yeah. Kim Rank didn't have any part of
How did that phone call go, Coach? Let's talk to the parents. How did that go?
I think Craig ran a few.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. Yeah.
A couple suicides on the next practice.
Definitely.
Was he a key player or what?
Yeah, he was a player in that.
But so he's got a son, Andy Francis, that was on one of our district teams that was the district. So he's from he's got some athletic kids. I mean, if you look up the Francises and you go to our wall of honor, our stats, there's a bunch of Francises.
Okay, so the Francis family is up there.
Middleton was Middleton was a big athletic name too.
Yeah, there was a bunch of us at one time.
You got to carry on the tradition.
That's right. Still go there.
Okay.
We've created a seamless process, so once the accident actually happens, to get you back in the vehicle as quickly as possible. The customer doesn't have to worry about much of anything. We have an estimator come out and dissect and really get into the pieces and parts of it. We do a quality inspection. Is now an office person looking at it as if the customer was looking at it. We don't hide anything from the customer. They're more than able to come out and look at the vehicle. If you ever get in a collision and you need us, just reach out to us, give us a call. It's 937-492-4783.
Together, we are family, working safely for our loved ones.
We are problem solvers who challenge the status quo and drive improvement.
We care about our customer relationships.
We stay true to our values, caring and respecting one another.
We embrace change as we journey through our career.
We are Precision Strip, the world's leading processor of rolled steel and aluminum.
Precision Strip, doing the exceptional.
Now, talk about a couple of these teams that really helped elevate Fairlawn as a basketball organization. I mean, you guys have seen a couple of these teams get to the district and what it kind of meant for the program.
So, I'll talk a little bit about my experience. So, again, back to, 72 was our last SCL title. We shared that with Anna. But since then, we have not had a Shelby County League title since that time. But so when I was a ball boy in 1992, we had a class come in. We lost one of our key players, Travis Kress, early on in the season in a game against Houston, where he broke I think it was his wrist or his hand or his arm. But whatever he broke, that was like the first 3 games of the season. So he was out for the rest of the year until tournament play. So I think that season, there was a 20-game season. And so I think that year we went 5-15, so lower part of the bracket, but we had a chance where we got a first round bye. We then played either Houston or Anna, and I think it went in that order that we were able to win our district, our sectional. And we went on to play Dayton Jefferson in a district final, double overtime, lost that game. And so, that was tough.
Lost to the Broncos.
Yeah, and unfortunately they've been a pain in our side since. Talking about Andy Francis, they made it. Was that Dayton Jefferson again that we lost to down at Miami?
It was.
If I speak correctly.
It was.
And that was in 2004. Was that when Andy graduated?
I believe it was, yeah. No, he graduated. That was his junior year.
Okay, so in 2005, we made it to a regional final down at Miami with Andy Francis and Richie Beard and your son.
No, that was the year. Scott was there the next year.
Okay.
Doug Holzkamp was the enforcer.
Gotcha.
The enforcer now. And now what year? What time is this in? The 90s?
About 2004 then.
Oh, so he was still in. So he was really still bruising, but
he was a big, strong
threes or what?
Big, strong farm boy.
Okay.
And on a 1-2-2 zone. Biggest guy on the team, but he was out front.
Yeah, had a long wingspan.
He played at the top, huh?
Had a long wingspan.
Put him at the top.
Yep.
Exactly.
And let him wreak havoc a little bit.
Exactly. Yep.
So for those, for us, we don't have a lot of opportunities where we make it that far. So when we do, the community, backs us up, and we try to get highly involved and get in the community there. But it's been fun to watch because I've been able to see those groups and those teams come through at a early young age and just grow to what they are, and it's been neat.
No question. And now the game's changed a little bit. We'll get into that for a moment. Give me so the 3 teams that you feel like really changed the game for you guys would be. Give me the 3 teams.
If I was talking
3 to 5, we'll say 3 to 5.
The Fairlawn teams, you mean?
Yeah, give me 3 to 5 teams that you feel like.
Well, I would say a team that had these 3 guys were probably the linchpins on it. Was 87, a guy by the name of Kevin Gump, who was our 11th all-time scorer. And then along with that team, 88, Matt Hickman, who was an excellent player, 4th on the all-time total scoring list. And then Josh Bradigan, who is going to be here tonight, who was Josh was an enforcer on the team, wouldn't you say?
He's kind of a defensive specialist.
He was the guy that
who did he play like? I mean, give
like an Aaron Kraft, probably. Some of this
point guard.
It's on the board, but played a defensive role and just
he
took care of
energized the team.
Yeah, had a big barrel chest and wasn't afraid to stick it out.
I'll let you know what was coming.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
That was a real good era there. I would say from 87 through 89, you just had 3 real good players. There were some other good players role players. Todd Coverstone, guard. Chris Elliott.
Yep, Chris was great.
Andy McGrill, I think, basketball player. So that was one good era we had. And you can.
Yeah, well, and talking about that 92 team, you had Jason McLean, John Davidson, Travis Kress, Abe Middleton, my brother. That was a great 2-3 year span there where they had some wins, and got to that tournament run. Then there was a little bit of a dry spell. We lost a great community player, Derek Alexander. He went to Laramie. We lost him in 97. That was kind of one of our best players at that time. He was a league MVP at Fairlawn, but then he went. I know, right?
No.
And so that was 96.
There was an immediate rivalry.
There was a little bit of a stretch there where we had a rough time. So I talked about the 90s being a little rough, but then I graduated in 01. Our first winning year was my senior year. That was the first time we'd had a winning season since 88 or 89. Talking about those players that he was just talking about.
Gotcha.
So we ran into a spell with the team after me with Tyler Everett and Devin Alexander. Keith Brown, Nathan Saylor, they went 17-3 that year, and unfortunately, talking about that Larmy team, they beat us in the sectional, the first game of the sectional, and it was rough because that was our kind of that team that you're talking about that we had high hopes for.
And you had to play against.
And we played against Larmy, and it wasn't. Derek wasn't on that team, but his brother was on our team. Devin, Derek's brother Devin was on our team, and
so many storylines.
So I graduated with my cousin Alan Middleton and Chris Short and Philip Prince and Gary Metz, and it was a good group. Like I said, we had that first winning season since the late 80s, so that's what we were shooting for.
Amazing stuff, man. It's so many storylines and bros, family.
A lot of relation, a lot of connection.
A lot of connection. Family.
Little shout out there that I think actually probably from 68 into 72 were some real good teams, but we had a fella, Tom Pitts, is a 6'7" guy, and here's a little story I kind of found out there. That team in '72 was playing for the league title.
Yep.
And the last game of the year was at Anna.
Yep,
okay.
That's correct.
And in the county, we kind of call like Anna Bananas, the Rusey Frogs. I don't know what all those others are for. I don't know what the heck they call Fairlawn.
Right, that's what I'm telling.
But so anyway, we have before that game, cheerleaders came apparently with a big banana sign, and I'll leave these unmentioned, but 3 Fairlawn fans threw bananas out on the floor when the Anna team came out there. Obviously, it didn't do us any good that night,
Well, tied to that same story, when that '72 team, we went to Jackson Center and won there, and that's when they clinched for the league share, at least that we had a share, and we cut down the nets. And talking about Jerry Harmon, I don't think he was too happy that we came to their place and cut down their nets. So my dad had told me that story many years ago. My mom's from Jackson, and my uncle Ronnie Ludwig, I think my dad had stepped on his toes. So there's a backstory there too.
I think at that game, I believe that's the game where this Tom Pitt scored 55 points
against 55.
55.
Tom Pittman put the smack down on him.
Yeah.
So ever since that happened, it's been one thing after another. It's just been a family
Shelby
rivalry.
County's got some of the best basketball in Western Ohio.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, what's Pickwood tournament? I'm hearing about that. What's that whole vibe like?
It was interesting because the thing that's happened now with basketball, as is that they've switched to that 7 leagues or 7 divisions, right? So that's going to help spread that out a little bit more, which is great because we would always battle Larmy or Jackson or Russia or Botkins, whoever's battling just to get out of a sectional. And those teams go on to do really well against maybe some other teams around the state because it's not the same amount of competition. It's kind of like when you look at the MAC in football, it's very similar on how tough it is to get out of that league. And you look at a 6-6 football Versailles team or a Marion Local, and they go and play an 11-2 West Liberty, and they always seem to dominate those non-league teams. And it's kind of what the SCL is when they go down to Pickwood. We bring in teams from Mechanicsburg or Bradford or Triad, and nobody ever really got much success coming out of Pickwood other than the Shelby County League teams. Right? You weren't going to come out of the Pickwood tournament a non-conference team because it was just too much talent in the league.
And so you feel like with it kind of being 7 divisions, that will play any benefit this year?
If it opens up that league tournament or that tournament to a wider spread, almost like a super sectional, where it brings it more south and more north, I think it will give an opportunity that Larmys and Fairlawns and Botkins and Rushys and Jackson, they don't have to play each other. So it makes it gives you a little more time to get to a regional or a district final. And you don't have to battle it out in a sectional, which is great. It's great. Because I can tell you a number of years, that year we played Larmy and lost in 02, we'd have probably easily not had to play them early on, and that would have gave us the chance to warm up in tournament and get a run.
Right. You feel like, and because you guys are all in conference, everybody knows each other, right?
Correct.
That familiarity with your opponents.
Correct.
So when you get to the tournament, it's like, all right, we got to battle with these dudes.
We got to figure out who to get away from. Like, if you got a number 1 Rushi and a number 2 Jackson, you're like, all right, now who do I? And they're spreading out. So it's everybody trying to get away from the best of the best, but there's no way to do it because at the end of the sectional final, you're right there against them no matter how hard you don't want to see them.
One thing's kind of hurt us lately, I think you can comment on this, is that we don't have big numbers out there. We're not a town. we're like a farming community out there with a couple little burgs out there, Plattsville, Pemberton, Chihuahua, So we have trouble with the numbers, and then a lot of these older players you talk about, their families have kind of moved out,
Right.
and so we have a hard time actually having enough people. So we lead the area by far in open enrollment. Okay, but a lot of people that come from open enrollment don't play basketball because they're from a different, lots of times from Sydney and that.
Yeah.
And so we struggle, I think, to put together teams. For us, it's kind of like every 7 or 8 years.
We'll have
a
every 5 or 6. Right, I see what you're saying. And then you get a couple players, and then
It helps.
We just don't have the support when you've got maybe a good junior class, but nobody on this side or that side, and that's kind of hurt us over the years.
got you not having consistent classes, bringing in really top tier talent that you can develop over the course of a high school career, for sure. Right now, how are we looking? We got some talent in there right now. What do you think?
So I have kids that are in school. None of them are in high school age, but right now, probably the last 3 years, we've struggled a little bit here recently. So when I told you I graduated in 01, from 2000 to 2010, 2011, I don't think we had a losing season in that time frame. But here, as of recently, Justin Tidwell was a coach for a lot of years with Nathan Lessing. He leads the NSCL. He's the top scorer in the SCL history. One of our guys. And so when he graduated, these last probably 3 to 4 years have just been a little bit rougher. We haven't had a lot of those kids that he talks about in district or anybody that's moved in. So it's been a struggle here recently. But we do have some talent coming up. I coached last year at the junior high level. Our 7th grade, we went 16-0. So unfortunately, we'd like to have a couple of those classes that we can combine them, right? If we can get
coach prospect.
I might need another job.
Here we go.
You
got 8 jobs.
You mentioned that Nate Lessing, 2,223 points.
Yeah.
Nate Lessing.
Nate Lessing. 2,200 in a 4-year career.
Most leading scorer to date.
He's still
he leads
the GOAT.
he leads the SCL in scoring. So
the GOAT was from Fairlawn.
That's the only thing we got to go to, right? So we'll use whatever we get. If we can take it, we'll use it.
The GOAT is in Fairlawn, all right? Until somebody knock them off, y'all can rip that for sure.
The Hometown Opportunity Platform is exceptional.
It is focused, laser focused on the careers in our 4-county region.
100% of the time we go to Hometown Opportunity. We've had great success from a handful of applications when we need them, as well as a recent one where we had 67 applicants.
Honestly, it's a competitive advantage.
The Hometown experience has been everything I could have dreamed of and more.
We are here and here and here.
Minster Bank is everywhere, providing every banking service that you need to keep your financial life in order. Whether you are on the go or stopping by one of our branches, Minster Bank is here for you. We proudly support the communities where you live. Minster Bank, helping people achieve financial success.
My expectations were nowhere near the level that we have actually accomplished here.
My expectations exceeded. I knew it would be top notch, and it was.
Pretty much just what I've learned. A lot of new techniques, how to better do some of the things that I already did, and everything just really been awesome.
I knew that when I come up here that the best of the best were here.
I expected to get some quality time on the water, but I would have to say that the instruction that we've received has by far exceeded my expectations.
I have live scope on a boat I have now, but I'm not real educated with it, so I wanted to learn more about that. They were all very informative. It was a great class.
I was afraid that they could come and tell you a lot of things, but would I be able to take it back home and apply it? But that's totally changed my mind now.
Now, speaking of now, then and now, okay? The game's changed, okay? What have you seen? What changes have you saw, and do you like what you're seeing now, or are you still in love with the old school vibe?
Probably the biggest change, I think, is probably the three-point the three-point shot, which has opened the game up a lot more. I think back, when I go back, go back to the 70s in that area, a lot of times that big man would, really dominate. The team that Kevin Gump and Bradigam and Hickman were on, if they'd have had the three-point then, Kevin Gump was probably one of the best shooters ever, but didn't have the three-point shot. He was, I think from his career, well, just look at this.
Long range, he was a long range shooter.
He could have been back then, but he didn't get credit for it, He didn't get anything. He, I think senior year, 57 of 62, 91% from the free throw line. He could put them in from there or anywhere, but we didn't have the advantage of the three-point shot back then. I don't know.
For me, I think I've officiated for 17 years high school boys.
Yeah,
and girls
so you already know it's been a lot of changes
There's been
already.
a lot of changes, but I think the kids are still athletic. They still know how to play the game, and for me, it's just trying to the speed and the agility, the ability, all those things have just continued to grow. You see some really athletic kids out there, and the sport does change. I mean, there's a lot of more contact that we let them play through. Back in the day, a foul was essentially what the book showed. Now you got to evaluate what kind of contact they can play through. Kids are tough. I mean, they're pretty strong, and so it's hard to analyze what specifically has changed in the game. But I think it continues to be an impressive game. It's fun to watch and it's fun to be a part of.
One thing I think certainly changed is way back. You played basketball during basketball season. You ran track and you played baseball during baseball season. Now it's tough to do those things because now if you're playing basketball, you're playing AAU all year long, and so I think that the talent definitely has gotten better, but it's become more specific on, you have to pick a sport almost anymore.
Like, unless you have the numbers.
Right.
You start getting the numbers.
Right.
But even still, players now will play, like you said, they'll play school ball, and then the moment school ball's over, where's my AAU team? They called me.
Right.
We got the super pre-invitational, and it's
I know when I was coaching baseball, I'd have to fight for the track players, So one night I didn't. One of my baseball players, who was my shortstop, wasn't at the game because he had a track meet. So the next night he didn't start, and his mom came up and says, "Why are you punishing him?" And I said, I'm rewarding so-and-so because he was there. But back then you did it. At Fairlawn, without the numbers, you had to share.
Yeah, we still do that. I mean, they still have to do that today because there's no way with the number of kids. I graduated 36 kids. My brother graduated 24. So it's not, it's like being at Rucci, but they've been able to get all their kids because they're local. Talking about open enrollment, they seem to have all local kids. And so if they've got 25 kids in their class, they've got 12 girls going out and 13 boys going out for each sport. And it's not quite the same at Fairlawn.
A few years ago, I went back and coached 1 year at junior high, and we're playing Rucci, and the coach goes, "You mind if I put 16 kids in the scorebook? Because I've got 16 kids." And I go, that's okay. Because we had one kid didn't go out this year.
Should say we'll take 5 of those and help us out.
So although the numbers aren't, great, I mean, what's the atmosphere like at a game?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, I think it's. I think
you guys have great facilities as well.
We do school. So
new is top tier.
I think our kids are there for to support the teams. I mean, we have the adults, the parents are all there. I mean, it's still a great school. It's still a great district. It's just some years we have those down years. Like I told you, down in the 90s when I was there and active as ball boy, it was fun to be a part of it. But it was always tough because you didn't get a lot of W's. So it helps if you win.
Well, and the years that we had good years. I mean, the Fairlawn crowd, they come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, the hangar was packed. You couldn't find a place.
And Garbridge Gymnasium down in Pickway, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we filled out the whole side, and it's like, whoa, I haven't seen these guys at a game for a while.
So people will pull up.
A quick story about that, talking about the hangar, was, so we played Miami East when Miami East went to the state, and it had Paul Hirschberger and Mumal and a couple other guys. It was the same year Matt Plunkett and Matt Witt were at Bethel, if you remember those guys. And so Miami East wanted to move us down to Pickwa, Garberry, to play, and we were going to play at the hangar. Well, the only way we were going to win is if we were playing at the hangar. So we played them there. We lost by 8, but it was a fun game. The place was packed, and it was really our only opportunity to win. But they were not happy. They didn't put us on the schedule for the next 3 years, and so it was kind of one of those situations. But it was good basketball. I mean, at that time, the late '90s, early 2000s were probably some. I mean, I graduated, but it was some of my funnest basketball because we were good, and the crowds were great, and it was fun to be a part of.
And in a little Fairlawn history, the hangar, the hangar used to run east-west, but there was a change, I forget what year, and all of a sudden it became a north-south court.
They switched the gym.
What?
Well, it didn't have a stage, and that created problems for the musical.
Okay.
So
they had to switch it up.
It had to do with that somehow. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, you guys working what you got, but you guys have had a nice history and a nice career of run as far as making some runs towards the regionals.
Yep.
And still have the highest scoring basketball player.
We're going to keep that for as long as we can.
For as long as we can. It's been an honor and pleasure. Is there anything else you'd like to say right now?
It's been fun. It's I had a great time going through all these different statistics. I mean, called a brother-in-law, Greg Stewart, who played for Fairlawn, and he's going like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And kind of a shout out to a guy by the name of Bob Wise, who compiled a book. And I mean, it's every stat in the county from, excuse me, probably 1930 through 1992 was the last year. So
Bob Wise.
Bob Wise.
Look that up.
The county historian of Shelby County basketball.
Oh, there it is. Bob Wise got all the answers, and you guys got all the answers for the Jets.
That's right.
And it's an honor and a pleasure to have you guys here once again.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. We'd like to give a special thanks to our sponsors once again: Ernst Apparel, Buckeye Home Services, Superior Aluminum Products, CarStar, Air Handling Equipment, and NK Telco, NKT Productions. All right. Been a pleasure and honor to have you guys on. We have another great team coming up here in a moment. Don't go away. 50 plus years, Shelby County basketball, Cash&Clarks Productions.